Third pace.
Ever wondered why short videos are taking over your feed in whatever social media app you're using? Today, we dive into the rise of TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, and more, and how they can revolutionize your marketing strategy. Discover how to create impactful short videos that resonate with your audience on this episode of Content on the Go. Hey everyone, I'm Darren Lake, and welcome to Content on the Go, a podcast by Podpaste. Each episode, we answer questions or talk about one specific idea to help you market your business or brand better. And we do that by making them easy to digest, short and concise, because we all have a business to run. Let's go. What you'll learn with Christopher Koo, our guest, the history of short videos, rise in social media, and why it matters, what creating short video means for your business, and how to get started, a real-life success story of leveraging short videos to boost brand and podcast growth, and more. With over 20 years of bilingual content and communications experience, Chris excels in creating and managing impactful content across various platforms. At the time of this publication, Chris is the global content marketing lead at Byte Plus, who is known for apps like TikTok, Pico, CapCut, and Lemon 8. So let's just jump right into the history of short videos rise in social media. And this is going to play like you're fast forwarding through a Netflix documentary really quick. So Chris, give it to me real quick.
I think in a nutshell, it's like how video killed the radio star and now short videos is killing TV stars. So I feel like TikTok now, it has become one of the most popular social media platforms in recent years. There are 800 million active monthly users, and that's a whole lot of people. And its users are primarily Gen Zers, which is like becoming the key demographic for many businesses. I mean, it's inevitable, right? Like, young people are growing up, and this is the only medium that they want to be most engaged with, and you have to be on it. And like Instagram Reels, on the other hand, relatively new, that's trying to catch up to TikTok. It currently has IG has 200 million active monthly users, and it's also very popular with the younger generation. And there's YouTube Shorts, YT, and it has followed this trend as well because it is one of the biggest platforms for creators, and it makes sense. And they are trying to play catch up. And even in recent weeks, we have heard like Facebook redesigning its entire layout, which is going to come up in, I think, in the next month or so, trying to become more like TikTok. And they're also working on the revenue system for the creators on FB. So that is really, really trying to combat TikTok's rise. And I think that encapsulates the whole thing about this rise of short videos and how important it is for brands.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it's funny because Instagram is sending me. I was like scrolling on Instagram, and it was like, and I was like, oh, this is a dope video, and then I was like, I don't follow this person, and then I was like, and I saw the thing. It says because you've liked something like this, we thought you might like this, and I was like, this is the For You page on TikTok. I was like, this is the YouTube algorithm, and I'm like, oh God, Instagram's fine. I mean, I've known everyone knows they've been copying TikTok, but this is like literally, like they're just inserting as much as they can and just playing catch up. It's really interesting. But anyway, we'll get to the second part of this. Is what does creating short video actually mean for your small business? Like, why is it something that you need to be thinking about if you're not already?
Yeah, I mean, what does it mean, right? And creating these short videos on the platforms can help you reach a wider audience. Definitely, connect with potential customers, boost your brand awareness, and most importantly, the Gen Zers. This is their go-to search platforms. It has changed if you are not really, noticing this huge paradigm shift of the Gen Zers not using Google search, and they're actually searching for solutions on TikTok. So this is like Google is not their first go-to place for a solution. They are actually trying to find other people on TikTok which are helping them in an authentic way. So it definitely is a platform, and the short video can be this medium to show off your authenticity as a brand. And who is going to be in the video? Well, that's something for the next story, and it's something for you to decide, right? I mean, there's a whole basket of it's a whole can of worms, but let's just say that this short video is going to show off who you are as a brand, and definitely it is the right thing today to do.
All right, so I've got a cool story. I'm full of stories. I love telling stories, but this is a cool story of how me personally and my brand ended up using short video and how it became like the main thing I'm doing. And I didn't even mean for that to happen. So I approached short video, and encapsulate all of this. I TikToks. They're not TikTok videos. They're called TikTok for you millennials, senior millennials, and you even boomers or whatever you are, Gen Xers. Do not say TikTok videos. You're making TikToks. That's one thing like that will. If the minute you say I'm making a TikTok video, it's like, oh, who are you, bro? You're making a TikTok. All right, Reels and short YT shorts. Those are all just short videos. I'm just lumping them in because you can even throw them on Instagram. You can even throw them on obviously Facebook, Twitter. You can throw them on. LinkedIn. I think that's about it. So they're just short videos. And again, I define them as less than a minute. Yes, you can do 90 seconds on Instagram Reels now as of the time of this recording. Yes, you can do up to 10 minutes on TikTok. I think most accounts can do 10 minutes. Everyone can do 3 minutes. So is it even a short video at that point? But I think 1 minute to 90 seconds is a short video. Some would even say 7 to 12 seconds is pretty much the limit that you should do, but we'll get into that another time. So I was trying to grow my brand, and in particular my podcast and newsletter. And this was like the end of 2020. And I was like, I got this, huge strategy, and I put together a marketing plan, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this with the podcast. I'm going to do that. And I just kept looking at Instagram like it was 2016. And I was like, I'm going to have this image and I'm going to have this quote. And it was just all photos. And I was going to focus on Instagram because I have a running brand, endurance sports. So all that stuff is very visual. And I had a lot of photos of myself doing it. I wasn't taking videos at that point because I was like, ooh, video. I'm an audio guy. Why would I do video? And video, you have to have a camera set up and good lights and all. And I was like, I don't want to do all that. So again, my old strategy was nice photos and a pretty feed, inspirational quotes, etc. But it was not working. And I was like, why is this not working? Like, it was just like, it was average. It wasn't like bombing or anything, but it was really average. And I'm like, I'm not seeing the growth. And I started realizing that I'm not a model. I don't have blonde hair, male or female, and blue eyes. And I don't do, on the flip side, I don't do comedy. I don't do backflips off of buildings, parkour stuff. I don't have all that happening, like all the adventure sports, skydiving and all that. Like, if you do that type of stuff, you will win the internet. So I had to get creative, and I sat back and I was like, let me use my skills of performing, because I was a musician. I still am a musician, but performing on stage, voiceover, I'm a podcaster. I do a lot of voiceover work, presenting, teaching people how to do things, etc. with endurance sports. Like, I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of weird ways of thinking about things in different ways. And I was like, okay, let me figure out how to do that and do that with video because it works really well. Like, some businesses, it's kind of hard to show with video, but I was like, I got running stuff. Like, I can show video all day. This is great. Like, my type of content works really well for video, short videos. So these worked really well. I started incorporating them into my podcast promotional content and using the video from the podcast episodes. So just like we're recording right now, I ended up editing them together and making 30 to 60-second grabs that are valuable on their own. So if people want to learn more about that said topic, like how to run a faster 5K park run race, 6 tips to run a faster 5K park run race, I might actually have one tip in there and cut it up to be 1 minute, like do this one thing, boom, boom, boom. And that's valuable. So that's value right there. You're scrolling on Instagram, you're like, oh, that's cool. Someone will save it. And then it's like, hey, want to learn more? Click link in bio or go to this link or search blah, blah, blah. And I'll put that as a CTA in the caption or maybe even the text. I need to start doing that actually more, is putting in the text at the end. And I'm actually converting slowly. It's a grind, but I'm converting people over to the podcast. And I, polled my audience about a year ago, and it was like 20% of them listen to the podcast. I repolled them. I think like 50 to 60% of my audience. It's like a BS poll. The data, I don't really trust it. But it was this interesting phenomenon of a lot of people are listening to my podcast now because I'm constantly promoting it. But I'm not just saying, listen to my podcast. It's like if you sell sneakers, buy the sneakers, buy the sneakers. It's like, no, tell a story with the sneakers. Give me something about how, why shoelaces are so important, like give me that, like that's the TikTok. I call it short video stuff, the TikToky style, where go in depth, give people value. You don't have to be the blonde. You don't have to do the blonde model. You don't have to do the backflips. You don't have to be that type of brand. You just got to give people value. And I know one brand in particular, it's Flexi. I forgot. It's a movement by David. Check out his Instagram. Oh my goodness. The dude looks normal. He films them in his kitchen with normal light and I think an Android phone. He has like 600,000 followers, and every single post he posts every day, probably multiple times a day. It's just value on top of value. And obviously, the dude looks dope. He can do really cool, but he's constantly educating people on why they should do this, how they can do that, how they can do that. So I'm sure if you're selling, he's not even selling anything. He's like selling merch now, and I think he might have some courses, but he just wanted to do it because he's creative. If you're selling something, reverse engineer it. Like really think about like where's the value in this? How can I educate people? So I'll just end that off. Because we can keep going on tangents. We got to finish this. But this worked really well. And now short video is actually my main focus, to the point where I'm getting 5 or 10 takeaways from every episode, podcast episode, and making them into literally 5 or 10 videos from every episode, and just shooting those out now because they work so damn well. And it's just part of my whole plan, my strategy now with all of my content, my long form content, my newsletter, my podcast, my long form blogs, etc. And it's just this like eye opening thing. And if I wasn't forced to do this, I wouldn't have been like, oh, I'm actually a good video creator. And I know a lot of small businesses can and they should be thinking more about that. So let's get away from my story and go a bit more into the last point of why this is important and what to do moving forward. If you have anything, I know I spoke a bit about that with my brand being the case study example, but yeah, let me know a bit more about how TikTok replaced Google as the internet's most popular domain in 2021.
So people are looking for values, as you say, and that ties back to the brand mission, because the brand mission is to provide a certain value to the customers that they are targeting. And what is this value? And this value should come with authenticity, right? The value shouldn't be coming from a place where if you buy something from me now, then I'll give you this. It is free for all. And I think that's how TikTok has replaced Google as the internet's most popular domain last year. And that effectively ended Google's 15-year reign as the world's most popular internet domain. And, this is how TikTok's whole ecosystem and its bunch of users have slowly rising to be these authentic brand storytellers, right? They are telling their own brand stories, or they are helping the brands to tell authentic brand stories. So on Google search, like brands on Google search is brands that can afford to pay Google to show up first, or the brands who that mastered SEO and follow the rules of the Google or the algorithm, and affiliates that make up their rankings and charge for visibilities and clicks. So that might not be the optimum solution for the customer. The crux of the issue is that there is no true validation of quality on Google search. But on TikTok, all these TikToks that people are creating, they are engaging and they're providing a real value. And then the collaborative artificial intelligence recommendation engine ensures that you're not just getting the videos that you really want, you are also connecting with other people of the same interest. And then there are all these different layers of moderators in TikTok that will ensure that the taggings are correct and that it's placed in the right geography. And I think that sort of credibility and authentic results is just very difficult for other social media platforms to match at this point of time. And then there's this evidence that to back up this claim, right? A recent study by Credit Karma shows that more than 52% of Gen Zers respondents, they're actually seeking financial advice and personal finances and stuff like that on TikTok. So TikTok's results are very viral, very useful, granted when created correctly, and it's really trending and contextualized, obviously. So that degree of authenticity achieved in a short video is very, very important for brands today. And that's not to say that it's very easy. They also need some kind of thinking behind that. And I think in future episodes, we're going to tell you and show you how to make the short videos work, and what these platforms are trying to do with these videos and how they decide to distribute to their users.
Yeah, short videos are here to stay. I think video is like kind of the final. I wouldn't say final, but it'll probably VR will be next, or mixed augmented reality or something. But that all is still video, in some way. So video, like we experience the world with our eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and it was photos before, because obviously the photos were there. but now we can handle video. Our cameras now are good enough to capture good enough. Most people can capture good enough video. So for short video to be the main way you get stuff out, versus photos, it just makes sense like that. Why every platform is pivoting into short video and playing this catch up. And it's funny because YouTube has literally they should have come up with TikTok. Like YouTube should have come up with YT shorts, and it was just like, it's like ironic, but YouTube ain't dying anytime soon. YouTube is really strong. I call it like, it's like an older sibling to podcast where there's 31 million people on YouTube, 31 million YouTube accounts. There's 3 to 4 million podcasts. There's 800 million TikToks, whether they're business accounts or not, it's a bit muddled, but there's I think 200 Instagram business accounts. So you can see, like, based on all of that, I know it's a lot of numbers and this is a podcast, but there's still a lot of weight in podcasting and proper YouTube videos, but they take a lot of work. Whereas a short video, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you can crank out more of them. You can chop up more things. You can chop out more short videos from a long form piece of content. I'll end it there because I want to talk about, repurposing content and content stacking. This is a strategy that we use here at Metagene. I use my brand where you do one piece of long form content, like this podcast, this 10 to 15 minute long podcast. And now you have 10 pieces of short form content, if not more, out of it. But we talked about a lot today. The history of short videos, rise in social media, what creating short video means for your business. My beautiful story about how short videos became my main business plan when it was actually, I was supposed to be promoting a podcast and newsletters, and I shifted to using short videos to promote those, and why this is important, what to do moving forward. Thank you all for listening. This was a fun one, and hopefully over the next few episodes, you can learn how to actually create short videos and what to do with them. From Podpaste, you've listened to Content on the Go. Again, I'm Darren, and Podpaste hopes you found more insights and tips into your business or brand. If you've liked what you heard, please share a link with other businesses or marketers if you think they would get something from this. And for a limited time, we are offering 2 special services for people. The first is aimed at businesses that have never done podcasting and want to try it out before committing to a full series. Think Try Before You Buy, where we will edit and repurpose a podcast episode into 10 pieces of content for you for only $95. That's 82% off our normal rate. But if you already have a podcast going, we'd love to edit an episode for free for you or repurpose it into 10 pieces of content to show you what is possible. Either way, sign up at the link in the show notes or YouTube description below to jump on a quick 10-minute discovery call where we can brainstorm ideas or audit your existing podcast and help shape your next series. See you on the next episode.